Checklist for installation. In order to avoid the headaches by going through the case studies and the tutorials and books, it's better to install the necessary software and configure your environment right away from the start. As we have seen earlier, Ajax is a combination of technologies, and we can use it with any server-side technologies like PHP or ASP.NET. But here in this tutorial, we are going to discuss only about Ajax and PHP's combination. So, let's see how to install PHP, okay? Right, but before that, we should know the hardware requirements to install this software first, shouldn't we? So, let's discuss about it now. To build a website with Ajax and PHP, we need to install PHP. The web server we are going to install here is Apache, which is the popular web server preferred by most of the PHP programmers, and finally database, that is MySQL, which is the popular database in the PHP world. Well, but here we are not going to install each of them separately. All of the above-mentioned things like PHP, Apache, and MySQL comes in one complete package called WAMP Server, and it stands for Windows, Apache, MySQL, and PHP. So here we are going to install only this WAMP server. Now let's see its hardware requirements. WAMP starts and runs only under Win32 systems, like Windows 2000 Professional or Server, Windows XP, or Windows 2003. And the operating system should also support Windows NT 4.0 technology. The other important hardware requirements are 256 MB RAM, 150 MB free disk space, installed TCP IP protocol, our favorite internet browser, for example Firefox, and only install pair internet access. Note, due to some technical limitations, WAMP could not install under Windows 95, 98 or Windows ME. Before installing WAMP, we must uninstall the previous installations of Apache, MySQL and PHP. These are all the important considerations which we have to meet before installing WAMP. And we hope this tutorial would have given you enough knowledge about the hardware requirements. Fine, let's see now how to install it in our next tutorial. Installation. Going through the tutorials and books will only give the theoretical knowledge about the software, which will not help us in many cases. So in order to get the practical knowledge in particular software, we must install the necessary software. Well, to learn Ajax, we must install the WAMP server. Let's see its installation process. As stated earlier, WAMP server is a window-based web development package which creates an environment for developing web-based applications like Apache, PHP, and MySQL. And it also has some additional tools like phpMyAdmin and SQLite Manager for managing and supporting our website. Some very interesting news about WAMP server is it's purely an open source package. It comes under GPL, General Public License. So we need not spend even a single penny to download WAMP server. It's really amazing news, isn't it? Yes, and it has lots more advantages to list out too. But it goes beyond the scope of this course. So let's get back to the subject to see how to install it. To download WAMP server, go to this link. This link will bring up the home page of WAMP server. Here you can see the option Downloads, right? Now, click this option and see this is the download page. Here it shows some warning messages, doesn't it? If WAMP 5 is already installed in your system, then uninstall it and delete the WAMP 5 directory before installing WAMP Server 2. This is actually a prerequisite to download WAMP Server 2. Here, we have the download link, so just click this link to download. This is the wampserver.exe window. Click this Save File button to save our downloaded file. Now you can see the WAMP server icon in the desktop like this. Just double-click it to install. As soon as you click the WAMP server icon, you could see Open File, Security Warning dialog box. Click the Run button to start the installation. It checks the existing installations and gives you the message. This is the Important Information dialog box. It holds the same warning message which we came across in a download page. So, select Yes to continue the installation process and then click Next. Accept the license agreement and click Next. By default, the destination location of WAMP server would be the C drive. If you would like to change the location, click Browse and change the location to whichever you prefer. Otherwise, click Next. Check out the options you would like to create. Create a quick launch icon. Create a desktop icon. Here I'm going to select Create Desktop icon. Before installation, it summarizes the action that it's going to perform, like destination location and selected additional tasks. If we would like to make any changes in this, then do it with the help of this back button. Otherwise, simply hit this button, Install. See, our installation process has started. After the process is over, it will ask for the default web browser with which you would like to work with. By default, Internet Explorer serves as a browser for it. Next, it asks for the PHP mail parameters like SMTP, Simple Mail Transfer Protocol. By default, it would be localhost, and if you have any email server parameters, enter here, otherwise click Next. Finally, we come into the end of the installation process. So, let us finish the process by hitting the Finish button. If your installation process gets over successfully, you could see one small semicircle like WAMP server icon at the system tray. And we could see this always whenever your WAMP server is in a running state. Isn't it simple? Is it easier than you expected? Good. I hope you will soon get this installed in your system. Configuring Ajax. Configuration is merely just the setting up of a new environment for a particular purpose. Here in this case, we are going to see how to set up a new environment to make Ajax work. As we all know by now, Ajax is really just a JavaScript code. So, to make it work, we should do something, shouldn't we? Well, now let's see what that something is that's needed to make Ajax work. In this case, we are going to use our default browser, which means Internet Explorer, to get the output. So, it is a must to configure our browser to support Ajax. Let's see how to do that. Go to Internet Explorer and select Tools from the menu bar. Now we can see a list of some options like Mail and News, Pop-up Blocker, Synchronize, and so on. But we don't have anything to do with these options. So select this Internet Options. See again here we have several categories like General, Security, Privacy, and so on. Now select this category Security and click this button Custom Level to customize this browser. This is the Settings panel, and here we have several settings. In this, go to Active Scripting, enable it, and click OK. Then we can see one warning message box like this. Are you sure you want to change the security settings for this zone? Click Yes, and click this OK button. That's all. We configured our browser to support Ajax. But in most of the cases, this setting will be enabled by default. Anyway, it's good to have an idea about this, because you can't expect this to be enabled all the time. I hope you have gained some knowledge in this tutorial. Let's move on to our next tutorial. Understanding Ajax. From our previous tutorials, you would have learned that Ajax is used to build web applications, which process users' requests immediately, right? Okay, yeah, but it's not a new technology, remember? Also, Ajax is not a single technology. it's just a collection of technologies. The components that make up the Ajax has been there for a while, but really it's just the name that's new. Well, as stated before, Ajax combines several technologies like JavaScript, dynamic HTML, extensible markup language, XML, cascading style sheets, CSS, the document object model, DOM, and the Microsoft object, XML HTTP request, and these technologies are supported by many modern web browsers. Fine, now let's see how these technologies work together. First, let's take XHTML and CSS. These two components are used to build the user interface. Next, as the application runs, the interface has to change according to the user's actions. Either it should display something, or it should respond to the user input, and this has been achieved with the help of DOM. Thirdly, to interact with the user, our Ajax application should send and receive information from the web server. So here, in Ajax technology, the informations are transmitted in XML format. Our fourth component is the XML HTTP request, which is an object supported by almost all the browsers, which allows the application to send requests to the server, receive the response, and then to process that response. All these actions will take place behind the screen without interrupting the user's interface. Finally, our fifth and very important component of Ajax is JavaScript, which ties all the other components. As I said earlier, JavaScript plays a very important role in Ajax. Let's see how important it is. First, it monitors the page each time, when the user interacts with it, and then it creates and activates the XML HTTP request to send requests to the server. Then it packages the information, which is to be sent to the server in XML format. Finally, JavaScript uses the document object model to update the page. So this is how the Ajax technology works, and I hope you have got a clear picture of it. So, let's see some more interesting topics in Ajax in our next tutorial.